how's it going? How's it, cousins? Okay, hold them down. Hold yourselves. How's it? I'm Junior Kekuewa Jr. And welcome to the podcast that asks the question. We don't ask questions. Sorry. We don't name names. No, we don't name names. We don't ask questions. And we want to also say, because we had some email. We don't give like professional advice, like medical advice, none of that. Okay. And it is true that I have treated a lot of people with autism, a lot of people with anxiety and depression, and they've gotten off their meds and all kinds of stuff. But that is not a medical claim. We just want to say that up front. It's not a medical claim. Okay. It's just something that happened, and I can't deny what happened. And I was overjoyed. But first, the attitude of gratitude. Okay. So, we were looking in the stats. Now, the platform that we record on, okay, is actually, they've kind of enhanced things and improved things and analytics, all that kind of stuff. So, we want to look at the audience analytics, and, Apple Podcasts has gone down to 59%. We said on the last podcast that there was an other that's 14%. Well, it turns out that these other, what they classify as other, they are sites that are too small. Like they're smaller than Apple, they're smaller than Amazon. And our podcast is on Amazon, by the way. So we want to thank Amazon. But so these are small independent podcast sites like Podbean, stuff like that. I don't know where you guys get your podcasts on, but we've been doing the podcast for 3.5 years, something like that. And so these smaller sites have picked us up. And so the accumulation of those sites, 14% is what that is. So 14%, and our strong demos, like really strong demos worldwide, are 28 to dead. 28 to dead. And it doesn't tell us exactly how many people are in Hawaii, but it does break down the states. So the number 1 state is California. Number 2 is Texas. Number 3 is Hawaii. So we want to say thank you, California. Thank you, Texas. And there are people in Hawaii. It's catching on. It's starting to catch on. And I think a lot of people are either getting it from Facebook or LinkedIn, because those are the 2 places that we put it. Once in a while we put it on Instagram, but our main demographic, we seek out a lot of professionals on LinkedIn, because the information and the technique that I use and things that pertain to our clients are more suited for LinkedIn people than anything else. So and then there's also the income factor too, So that's a marketing thing for you guys. Number 1, you guys got to go where people who value your services are, and number 2, you have to be able to pitch your services to people that can afford them. It's like that. And professionals, we have a lot of professionals. So we want to thank them. So if you got us from LinkedIn, thank you very much. Okay. So, now on today's podcast, we have to redo the podcast that we did. Okay. And, because we had to start with telling the story, and it totally got past me. I didn't, of course, I didn't know how to do podcasting. And so my producer, who's like 35 years old, right? He was like, Unks, that's not how you do them. You got to tell your story first. So when they go back in the podcast, they see your story and they know like who they're dealing with, who they listening to, like they can identify with you and your challenges. So yeah, so let me reiterate my challenges first, and then I'm going to tell you how I manifested Jose Feliciano. So for you guys who are you young 28-year-olds, Jose Feliciano is a blind guitarist, and he used to be like one of the best in the world. He's getting older now, right? So, and there's new people, and there's new, best in the world guitarists. But he is amazing, a phenom. This guy. But we're gonna get to that in a second. But first, let me just reiterate. So, for a long time, for many years, I did not come out in public and say anything about my ADHD. So I have the worst case of ADHD you could imagine. And basically, just a quick overview. So I have both types of ADHD. So it's ADHD PI and ADHD. So it's a combination of two, and what they call it is a combined presentation. You can look that up. If you look that up in Google, combined presentation, you know what that means? That means like, okay, this guy get them all. Okay, and that would have been okay. That would have been good. But somewhere along the line, actually, we know when it was when I was 17. Or 16, I think. I was just about to turn 17. And so I suffered a drug-induced psychosis. And I did not like psychosis myself or induce myself. It was somebody just put all these drugs in one marijuana joint and gave it to me, you know. And the guy that gave it to me, I know, because I know this guy. I knew this guy long time. And he would never do that. And so it came from somebody else. So this is how this was like my first exposure to conspiracy, really. Because I was like, all right, who did this? It wasn't him. I know it wasn't him. But somebody gave it to him to give to me, kind of thing like that. And anyway, that conspiracy and that unanswered question. And sometimes you don't want to know the answer. Trust me, you don't. Okay? But let's just say that I was supposed to have been a vegetable in a place, like some kind of like locked away somewhere, but it didn't work, okay? Because like I always say on the podcast, Hawaiians, God is real. God is real, Hawaiians. And no matter who you have to deal with in public, no matter who you have to go, your boss, your coworkers, your whatever, okay? That's your job. That's your thing. Okay? But don't ever feel that things are hopeless. Don't ever feel like, oh man, my boss, he's never going to change. Like I'm always going to be the, whipping boy. I felt like that for a while, until God probably, I don't know. I don't talk to God like that, but I'm pretty sure God said, okay, he had enough. Give him something. Throw him a bone. And then boom, that kind of thing. So anyway, but God always brings the right people, puts them in the right places, opens the right doors. All you got to do is keep going. Okay? And yes, you do bitch sometimes. And yes, you do complain and grumble and whatever. Okay? But if you stay the course, okay? Because everybody, humans do that, right? We have emotions, we have anger, we have resentment, we have all these feelings, but we keep going. Okay? If the resentment makes you stop, if the anger makes you stop, if you just throw in the towel, okay, with whatever it is that you do, then you fail. That's the only time you fail, okay? All right, so now let's get back to the podcast and Jose Feliciano. So this story starts in, the Jose Feliciano influence started when I was 14. And so I would listen to Jose Feliciano recordings because we didn't have YouTube. No such thing as YouTube. So I listened to the guitar playing over and over and over on recordings. And I didn't even have any Jose Feliciano records. I had to get them on tapes, on cassette tapes that people made for me. And then when I got into radio, I got into radio when I was 17. Okay. Right before my 18th birthday, I got into radio. And I started working, in radio. I went to broadcasting school. And then I started working in radio like a couple months after I went to school. And then I never wanted to complete my school and never went back until an uncle of mine told me, he goes, your mom paid for your school. You gotta go get that diploma and whatever, And so I did go back and I got my diploma, and I don't know when I went back. I think I went back like in my mid-20s. I went back and, because I knew the guys. I knew the guys at the school and everything. And I went back, got the diploma, mailed it to my mom, and, the rest, as they say, is history. But my thing in radio was never for radio. I never dreamed in my life like to be a radio guy, right? Now, a couple other things happened along the way. See, so I had an uncle that used to play music, and he was actually my first mentor. And he, kind of made me do the business end of things. And so now I'm a business guy. I've been a business guy for a long time. And, and sometimes I'll say some business stuff on the podcast, and that's just to give you an overview and whatever. It's not meant for any professional kind of directives or anything. Okay, please, don't do that, because I've made mistakes in business. I know guys that have multi-million-dollar corporations, okay, that do stuff wrong. So, in fact, during the pandemic, we saw a lot of that. And I saw a lot of my friends, and I was like, no, you guys should do this, whatever. And I offer what I can. But anyway, so, my uncle, right, had these record albums with Jose Feliciano on it. And I listened to the albums and I mimicked the playing that I heard on the albums. I still mimic his playing. So when you hear me, play music and on the guitar, I don't know if you're going to hear too much of that now. But anyway, it's a lot of Jose Feliciano influence. So anyway, so the years go by, right? And when I'm 17, I get in the radio. I have access to more Jose Feliciano music, right? And I could put them on tapes. And I used to do that and take them home and listen and whatever. So that's how I learned. And then, around 2000, we had just moved into our professional space, and we were there like 22 years, yeah, something like that. And we had just moved into the professional space, and at that time I was diversifying. We had 677 square feet in our suite, and I was looking for different things to do because we had disposable income. And we had just outfitted the whole place, and oh gosh, we had like vending machines in there. I mean, you talk about monetizing things, and that's I guess my natural gift is to know how to monetize stuff. I mean, it really is a gift, because sometimes I look at something and I'm thinking already like, okay, how can this make money? And if you start looking at everything as a business always, life gets a lot easier, trust me. So we had all these things going on and a bunch of disposable income. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this? So one of the things was, okay, let's try to bring Jose Feliciano to Hawaii in a concert. And because it was only for selfish reasons. It's because I wanted to meet Jose Feliciano, and I wanted to sit down and jam with him in his hotel room kind of thing, And that's the only reason why I wanted to do this. So yeah, there was selfish motives, right? And so, but it wasn't about money. It was not about money. So anyway, so I had a couple of meetings, right, with a local promoter. I'm not going to mention his name, but the guy was huge. He's no longer with us, but he was huge, right? And Jose just had a double platinum recording at the time, but he did it in Spanish. So this local promoter, who was like the all-time king of local promoters, didn't want to touch him, because he goes, no, he really hasn't had like a number one hit in America for X number of years, and it was a long time. He had a Christmas song that was huge, right? And he had this other song, Light My Fire, right? But he goes, no, he hasn't really had anything in America for. Oh, he had this one other song, Chico and the Man. Chico and the Man was a television theme, and I think that was his last one. I think that was his. So it was Light My Fire, it was Feliz Navidad, and then it was Chico and the Man. And so he goes, no, he hasn't had anything since the 70s. So this is 30 years, okay? And he was right. And I went to the meeting, everything. He was really nice to me. In fact, he gave me tickets to, what did he give me tickets to? He gave me tickets to Whitney Houston or something. I don't know. There was a few concerts where he put me on a VIP list. And, give me tickets, and wow, I was like, whoa, but he was saying, well, if you guys can put up, the 25,000 it'll take to, bring them, whatever. And I'm like, well, okay, we have a cash reserve, but I don't think we want to do that. It's like promotions is like, putting everything on red and spinning the wheel. Because if people buy tickets and they buy enough tickets, you make money, right? If nobody comes, or, half the people come, right? You're not going to make money. And the only place that would have been suitable would have been this place that we have in Hawaii, in Honolulu, called the Neil Blaisdell Center Concert Hall. And the concert hall is still small. I mean, for making back the kind of money it takes to, do this thing, it's really small. And it's very, very risky. And so unless you have a sure thing kind of, if you're bringing down Bruno Mars or whatever, that kind of thing, then yeah, you go for it, right? So I didn't realize how risky it was. But then after the meetings that we had, I think 2 meetings, I totally saw it. I totally got it. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I see it. And so anyway, that happened, right? And then so I'm like, oh, okay, cannot. Now, in the meantime, right, the way that I came about this was that I went on the website. Now, this is totally life coaching 101 right there, okay? Gratitude. I went on Jose Feliciano's website when the web came on, right? And this was like back in the 90s, okay? And I had written a thank you letter on his website to him, emailed it to him, right, on his website, and thanked him for being such a great inspiration and someone that I looked up to and whatever. And I wrote it in this long letter, and I sent it, to him on the website, because I didn't know how to get in touch with anybody, right? These are celebrities, right? So I sent it to his website. Now, his wife got the letter, his wife Susan, and his wife Susan, right, relayed this message to somebody in Hawaii Kai. And she relayed it to this guy, Uncle Bill, okay? We'll just call him Uncle Bill. And Uncle Bill relays it to this person in Hawaii Kai. Now, Hawaii Kai, for you people I know, majority of our listeners are outside Hawaii, but Hawaii Kai is an area. It's like a district on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. Okay, so this is how small the world is, okay? So he gets in touch with somebody here in Hawaii Kai. Now, Uncle Bill is Jose, or was at the time, Jose Feliciano's road manager. So now a road manager is a guy that goes with you on the road, like wherever you perform, whatever. His responsibility is, getting the hotel room, check-in, all of that stuff. Setting up the meals, everything. So you set up everything for the performer, and then going to the gig and making sure the sound is right, making sure everybody sets up, the logistics is correct and all of that. So that's what a road manager does. And anyway, so I get this call from, back in the old days, it was calls, right? No text, right? And I get this call from this person in Hawaii Kai. And this person in Hawaii Kai was like, oh, well, we got a message from Uncle Bill, and yeah, we'd like to talk to you. Then give us a call when you can. Right? So when I get this message, I call immediately. I'm like, whoa, so, cause I can see the channels in my head already, right? Boom, 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 And so I call, and we had maybe a 45-minute conversation. And it was this lady who lived in Hawaii Kai, who got a phone call from Uncle Bill, who lives in the mainland, the U.S. mainland. And he was asking about me, right? And so I think her job, I know her job was to kind of see if I was okay, kind of see if I was all right. I've been in so many situations like that in my life. I remember going into radio, and the program director wanted to see if I was the party type, they drink all night, cocaine, weed, all that kind of stuff, if I was cool. And but that's what this was, right? It's like, is he cool? So anyway, so she checks me out, right? And I guess I pass, okay? Because the next step, she goes, okay, here's Uncle Bill's number, right? This is after 45 minutes. Okay, here's Uncle Bill's number. Give him a call, and, you go from there, whatever. So I'm like, whoa, one step closer, okay? Now, at this point, I had not been exposed to the law of attraction or anything, or, not in the commercial form, The Secret, okay? But my uncle, when I was 13 years earlier, went to these string of seminars and was teaching me all these things. And basically, I guess the most I was doing was sitting down and listening. Because he was my uncle, so I had to, so, and I was absorbing everything, but it just went in the back filing cabinet of my brain, and it just stayed there. So it got activated later in 2006, right? But this is 2000, and now I have Jose Feliciano's road manager's phone number. I'm like, yeah. So I call him immediately, right? Like the same day I called him. And he's up in the mainland, and so we start talking. And, I of course asked him if he could, please convey my gratitude to Jose. And, I'm so grateful because, he actually, taught me how to play guitar. Cause I had this one guy who got me started. Okay. And I can mention his first name. His first name was Franklin, and in high school. And this guy was like 2 years ahead of me in school. And he took the time actually at the beach and stuff to sit down and actually teach me some stuff, and I was totally grateful for him. But once I got started, right, it was Jose. And so now I'm talking to his road manager and I'm going, wow, so I'm telling him the story and I'm telling him about, how guitar got me through a lot of tough times as a kid and peer pressure and bullying and all the things that happened to you in high school, And so then we have discussions about, well, it would be cool if you could bring Jose to Hawaii or arrange for, So I'm like, oh, okay. So my goal was to get someone, like a promoter, right, to sponsor and whatever. Okay, when that didn't work, I was like, man, I'm not going to meet Jose now, right? And so Uncle Bill and I keep in touch over the years. And so the years just go by. You know how years are, right? They just go by, Hawaiians, right? The years go by, and Uncle Bill, at one point, and this is like way down the road, Uncle Bill at one point had Jose in his living room, and they were sitting around, and it was Christmas time. And so he made a call. And it shocked the hell out of me, I gotta tell you. And we even, the guy that I was on the radio with played it on the radio over here. Like, wow, this is, Junior knows Jose Feliciano. I didn't really know him, right? I still don't know him, but I met him. I have a picture with him. I mean, all this kind of stuff. So this manifestation happened, right? Now, this was before 2000. Well, this was after 2006, but this process. So 2000, right? So 2006, and I start, getting this manifestation technique down and whatever. And so Jose sent me a calendar that he autographed. Now, I had thought he only autographed certain pictures, is what I was told. But, and then I went online, right? And I Googled, and yeah, he autographed all kinds of pictures, right? So there's a lot of stuff in entertainment that's not there because of intentionally fraud kind of purposes. It's just to make it larger than life. That's all, right? Because I was told a lot of stuff by Hawaii's greatest star, right? That was just there to add to the aura of the show, and it's show business, right? It's show business. So it's not the verbatim business. It's show business. Okay. So yeah. So you add to the show and whatever. But so I got the calendar. So I put the calendar in a frame, right? And I put the frame like right next to where I used to teach. So I used to sit down in the corner of my studio, and I had at first I had it on my dresser at my home. And I used to look at it every morning when I got ready. Like every morning, I see it every morning. I could still see exactly what it looks like in my head, like right now. And now I have it in the garage because, I got this new house and I just put stuff in the garage. But it's in the garage now. It's not like, there's no room for it in the house. And this is a different kind of house. This is like, this is not the apartment. This is like the dream home. And so we're very picky about what we put on the walls and, that kind of stuff. I think the only thing that went up on the walls was my mom's paintings. And okay, we'll put it up here, But, anyway, I had it on my dresser at home. And then from my dresser at home, I brought it to the office, and I had this chair that I sat down in the corner of my studio. And the thing about that chair, and I never changed the chair. And for some reason, I always believe, because I channel. When I teach, I channel. Okay, so here's something interesting. Have you ever explained something to someone and then you start saying things that you didn't even know you knew? Okay, that's channeling. Okay, and when I teach, I channel a lot. And I think it's because I'm sharing knowledge with people, whatever the topic, it doesn't matter. But because you share knowledge with someone, I believe that God allows those channels to open. And because we're all born with infinite knowledge, okay? That's not a podcast, always, but I'm just going to leave it there, and you can think about that. But the next time you explain, you could be teaching somebody mechanics or whatever, and you'll start saying stuff that you don't even know, okay? Just be aware in that moment you are channeling. So I have this calendar. Excuse me. I have this calendar right on the side with Jose's pictures, several pictures, right? And I look at it every day. Okay, that's vision boarding. Okay. Now, I started writing affirmations about it right around 2010, because around 2010, I did a Waikiki show. Okay. And that's another podcast, but we're going to go over that again. I did a Waikiki show, and Uncle Bill came down to visit during that period of time. He didn't make the show. He didn't come to town, at that particular time period of the show, but he did come down in 2010, and I took him to lunch. We went to lunch, on the windward side, and we had a nice lunch, and it was myself, my manager, and Uncle Bill. And we sat down, we had a beautiful lunch, took pictures and all kinds of stuff, right? And in the meantime, he keeps sending me pictures of him and Jose performing, and they were performing at nursing homes and stuff, right? And now, you see these things, right? That these celebrities and whatever. You don't see the small stuff they do. You don't see the small personal things that they do. And I'm like, I saw the picture, right? And I'm like, wow, Jose Feliciano at a nursing home? I mean, to me, that's like, whoa, why did he do that? I mean, that kind of thing, right? Why else does he do that, right? It's a humanitarian thing, right? So, and then like a couple years after that, right? He gets honored in New York City, Times Square or wherever it was, for his Christmas song during the holidays, right? So they flew him up. It was the anniversary of Feliz Navidad and big celebration. And then there was one time where he performed with Gloria Estefan, and it was a Latino thing. And the guy from, what's his name, from Menudo, that guy, okay? I don't. For some reason, I was never a really big fan or whatever. During Menudo's time period, I was doing Filipino radio, so I was totally out of touch. But anyway, so they had this Latino thingy, and so he performed there, And this is while I knew his road manager, right? So, and we were corresponding and talking on the phone and all. Finally, I get the call for Christmas, and he goes, "Hey, wait, I got somebody who wants to talk to you." And in the background, I hear him talking to Jose. "Hey, it's Junior. He gives him the phone, and Jose comes on and, greets me and whatever. Now, I was out of the office, and that went on my machine. And when I got back to the office, I was like, oh, damn, I missed the call. You know what I mean? But I was working. I was doing work for our consulting company. The consulting company had just started, and we had a huge client that I had to service. So I was out a lot. And so I really beat myself over the head for that, right? I was like, oh, dude, come on, man, And so, but anyway, right, the message was left. And the reason why the message was left on another phone. See, back in the day, I had several phones for each business had a phone, right? And then we started getting smart about that, and we went for a cloud service. There was no cloud service before. There was only these industrial phone systems, and that was way too much for us. It was too expensive. It wasn't smart. It wasn't cost effective. And then the cloud systems came out. So now if you call the office, you'll hear, okay, press 1 for this, press 2 for that, whatever. And there's a whole system, but it's cloud based now. So it's cheaper. I mean, anybody can do it. It's really inexpensive, but it solves the problem of having multiple cell phones, right? And that's what I had. And the phones were in the drawer, turned off. And then I just turn them on once a day and take all the messages and return all the calls and, that kind of thing. So, anyway, and that's the call that we put on the radio, right? And then he called again. And so anyway, and then I got to talk to him, right? So I talked to him twice for like, I don't know, half an hour, whatever. And he is just a good fun guy. He's so good fun, right? And I'm like, oh man, okay, this is why can't I meet this guy? Something's going on, right? I start writing my affirmations. And every day I'm still looking at the poster with the pictures on it, right? I'm still every day. I look over, I see the thing, I look over, I see it. So I'm like trying to manifest this thing like crazy. Now, fast forward from 2010, 2015, 2020. Okay. Let's go back a little bit, like 2016, around there. 2016, 17, right? I made this comment to Uncle Bill because we were talking on the phone one day, and he's getting old now, right? And he's no longer, at that time, he was no longer the road manager. And he was telling me about, he still goes hunting and stuff. And he was telling me about, we used to talk about all that stuff. And then I happened to say, I said, Uncle Bill, I don't think I'm ever going to meet Jose. And he said, no, you're going to meet him. Don't worry. You're going to meet him. Don't worry. And, to me now, in retrospect, when I look back, right, that was me throwing in the towel. That was me going, okay, you know what? I accept this. It's not going to happen. Not meant to be, all of the above, right? And he said, no, you're going to meet him. And I, in my head, when he said that, I'm thinking, okay, how? All right, let's put a pause right here on the podcast, Hawaiians. The how is always God's job, okay? Remember that. The how is always God's job, okay? Now, here's the thing about manifestation and all of this, right? I get to the point every once in a while, okay? And I've gotten to the point of, that happened. This always happens to me. It happened as recent as maybe, I don't know, I want to say a week ago. Okay, and I work on a project, or I work on something, or I work at obtaining something, or I work at doing something, or whatever, and I go, okay? And then I get to the point where I hit the wall. Okay, hit the wall to me, okay, is either burnout from too much time spent, okay, or, which is what the majority of what happens for me. And number two, right, when you get to the point where things are so frustrating because it's not turning out, okay, and you throw in the towel, if it's just for, maybe it's just for that period of, or that moment of time. But what I do, right, is as I go, the hell with it, and I take a nap, okay, and I just give up. I release, I let go, and I take a nap, okay. Now, when I wake up, there's always something good that happens, always. And if you listen to Esther Hicks, if you look her up on YouTube or on the web and watch her videos and listen to her audio, you'll see that this is what she talks about. She talks about that you hold that thought for 16 seconds. And this is her method. You hold this thought for 16 seconds and then you let go and you release it into the universe, or release it unto God. The Christians say, let go and let God. Okay, I don't know what other religions say, because I've only been a Christian, so I don't know what the other people do, but that's what happens. Okay, and when I wake up from these times that I let go and throw in the towel, something good always happens. So at that moment when Uncle Bill said that, no, don't worry, no, you're gonna meet him, I had the biggest feeling of doubt ever. Like, I was like, yeah, right, okay. And I just, so we continued on with our conversation, and we talked about something else, and time went on, and okay. Now, it's now 2020, okay? And actually, no, it was 2019. It was 2019 now. And I get a random call. I'm out doing my stuff, right? The hopes of ever meeting Jose have gone. it was gone for like almost 2 years, I want to say. And it was out of my head. It was, okay, I let it go already. Okay, pow, gone. It's never going to happen. I accept it, move on. Right around 2019 sometime, okay, 2019, early in 2019, I get a call, and it's from Uncle Bill. And Uncle Bill's going, hey, Junior, Jose is coming to the Blue Note in Honolulu. I think it was July, in July, and this was early in the year. And he goes, I wanted to know if you wanted to go. I'll have Johnny hook it up. Johnny is Jose's son. And he's also Jose's drummer, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, what did I just hear? Right? Like I kind of paused. I stopped in my tracks a little bit, right? And I still had the calendar, okay? Because I didn't purchase this home until, let's see, yeah. But anyway, getting back to where I was. And I still had the calendar. It was still there in my office. We were still in the office when this happened. And so I'm like, oh, interesting. I'm like, wow. So of course I called back right away, right? I called back right away, talked to Uncle Bill. Oh yeah, Jose's coming. Yeah, we'll get you VIP tickets. Don't worry. You don't need to pay for anything. You really, and I'm like, whoa. Okay. So like, this is better than like anything, because I don't need to pay. This is the VIP treatment now. What? You see what I'm saying, Hawaiians? Okay. Now I threw in the towel. I let it go. Okay. Now here it is. It's back. Right. Now I gotta tell you, from, I don't know when I heard about this. I think maybe it was February or March. Okay. I couldn't even sleep till July. That's an exaggeration, but I'm just saying that I was so excited. Like until July, I like constantly, like, oh, what's this gonna be like? I was trying to picture it in my head. I was, whatever. And this was amazing. This was an amazing thing that was going down, right? So I worked it out, and got the emails, and we were emailing back and forth, me and Jose's son, and okay. So now let's fast forward to the performance. So a couple interesting things happened when I was there, right? And so you have to be able to see the synchronicities in life. You have to be able to see, like, okay, this is happening, and that's happening, and that's happening. None of these things are coincidences. They are all working together. Okay, that's another podcast for another time, Hawaiians. Okay, but everything works together. So there I was sitting down watching Jose. Okay, now after the show, right, which I thought was the funniest thing. I went to the show. I'm in my blazer, and walking. That's how I go to business meetings. But I'm like, oh, okay, well, put on a blazer, because I was taught that way. I was taught to do these things, right? Dress well, and all that stuff. And so I'm walking, and I'm waiting outside the dressing room for Johnny to come get me to go meet Jose. The concert was awesome. And the people that were in the concert, they were all older people, like, my age, right? And some a little younger, right? But they were all really true fans. And you could tell that these guys followed him like their whole lives, like I did. Same. And everybody in the room had something in common. And the room was sold out. I think he had 3 sold out shows. So 2 the night I was there, and the next night he had, I think 4. He had 2 shows for 2 nights, and they were all sold out. And so I was, in the room. Then I saw somebody that I knew, and it was one of my students. And so one of my students, she comes up to me, hey, hey, Debbie, whatever, talking story. And her boyfriend was there, and we're talking. And then I happened to go by the dressing room to make sure that I'm in the right spot. So when Johnny comes out, he sees me, because I don't want to blow this, right? This is like the frosting on the cake, right? So I'm standing there, and a lady comes up to me, and it was so flattering. This lady comes up to me. She goes, excuse me. And I turn around, and I looked at her, and she goes, are you Donny Osmond? And I cracked up. I couldn't hold it back. I could not hold that laughter back. And I laughed and I looked at her and I said, no, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm not Donnie Osmond. And then I gave her my card. I said, I'm Junior Kekuewa Jr. I said, you can search me up, but I am an entertainer and, whatever. And I gave her the thing and my websites on my card and all that stuff. And then I'm waiting, right? Then I got to see Jose. And I got in and he's eating soup in a t-shirt. He's just eating soup in a t-shirt. I come in and I said, Maestro, I said, I just want to thank you. So in the Latino community, when you address someone like Jose, Maestro is the appropriate title because that's what he is, right? And he's a virtuoso. This guy does it all. Just search him. If you don't know who he is, search him. Jose Feliciano. Unreal. Amazing. And I said, Maestro, I just want to thank you for being a positive influence in my life. I want to thank you for, for all your recordings that you did that, I listened to them and I told him the story, right? Really fast because I didn't want to, carry on and on. And so I told him, right? And he said, oh, you're very welcome. And I shook his hand and took a couple of pictures with him. And I said, I'll let you get back to your soup now. Sorry about that. And he goes, oh, no, thank you. No worries. And then I left. Okay. Now, I gotta tell you, Hawaiians, in retrospect, okay, that was the end of the thing. And then I went home. Now, in retrospect, okay, evaluating, looking back, because you don't know, in fact, you don't, what I'm trying to say is you don't understand the synchronicities and the manifestation in order until you look back after it already happened. Then you understand what happened. Okay. So first, right? Like I tell you guys, okay, and here's the life coaching part. First, you hold it in your mind. Okay. Then you take the baby steps. So we took a lot of baby steps, the concert, all of that. Okay. Didn't work. Now, if I would have given up at that point, okay, and I go, this is a pipe dream, never mind, and let it go. But no, I didn't do that. I kept the relationship going with Uncle Bill, see? And now, so we continue to take baby steps. Uncle Bill came to visit in 2010, right? It wasn't until 2019 or 18 or 19, I don't know, but my sense of time is never accurate in my head. Not in real time, but I think it was 2019. And anyway, so that, right up until 2019 when I got the word that I'm going to the concert, right? And it was like, whoa. It was just the baby steps. And at that time, I think, when I got to the point before that where I said, this is never going to work. Whatever, get over it, done. And I let go. What happened? Well, the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call Jesus Christ, whatever you want to call it, okay? Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. That started working, okay? That, in 2 years' time, led to me sitting in the front row, just free, okay? So that's all. That's also the thing, okay? So God will give you what you want. God will present to you, some options like, okay, you want it this way, you want this, you want that, and God will do that. But when you get it, it will come in the best possible way. It will come in the best possible way, Hawaiians. There is nothing that, unless it was not good for me, unless it was bad for me, because there's a lot of things that I want that's bad for me. But there's, unless it was really, really bad for me, there was never a time where I didn't get what I asked for, or I didn't get what I attempted to manifest. So, but this time, when I gave up, right? Okay, now God can do his work. So that's why when I explain it to you guys, I explain it like God is like a GPS. Okay, because once you go down, another road, it takes time for the GPS to recalibrate and show you a new route. Okay, and that's what happened. I gave up on that thing. I'm like, okay, we're not going down that road anymore. And God just recalibrated everything, and the new doors lined up, and then boom, the new situation was presented. And then, it wasn't, I expected to pay. I expected to pay for my seat. I just wanted a seat, right? I just wanted something reserved. Because in the old days with the promoters here in town, they would give you like what I call nosebleed seats, right? Way up in the stadium or whatever. And if you wanted the good seats, you had to pay because they were there to make money. I mean, they had to make their money. And I had no problem with that. So I used to reserve a lot. And then, I remember going to James Taylor, right? I called the promoter and he was, that big promoter I was talking about. And I called him. I said, hey, can I, oh, yeah, sure, Junior. Nah, for you, no problem. He puts the reserve tickets on the side for me. I go to the box office and I pay for the reserve tickets, right? I pay full price, but they're reserved. Okay, so I sat in like the third row of the James Taylor concert, when he came out. I was like right up there because I paid for it. And otherwise I would have been way in the back, right? Way. I would have to watch the monitor, and that's what happened when Frank Sinatra came. I had to watch the screen because he was like a tiny little ant on the stage, and I was up in the nosebleed section of the stadium in the yellow section, that kind of thing. But anyway, so God will give you what you want in the very, very best way. And for me, when I look back, right, I didn't have to pay. I got to go in the dressing room and meet him. Like I had a meet and greet, like all of this, like everything. And it came together in the best way. I was sitting so close to Jose during the concert. I want to say I was sitting I was maybe like a 3-person length away from him. And I put a video on my Facebook. In fact, I put several videos on my Facebook of being right there, right in the front, had my date for the evening right there. But what I'm saying is that right there, smack dab, right in the front, videos on Facebook, and it was just a manifestation in the most perfect way. Okay? God is real, Hawaiians. God is real. And a lot of times in my life, and this is besides the Feliciano story, but there's been so many times in my life where God has given me what I wanted. Okay? For a long time, I wanted to do my music, and that's why I got into radio, like way back, right? And I was looking for, making contacts and whatever. Well, maybe I was at the wrong radio station, or maybe I was at the right one, because the lessons I learned there actually helped me in business, in my companies. It didn't really materialize into what I thought, right? So sometimes what you think and what you get are two different things. And that's why I say, you don't really need to plan the details, because the details are not going to go like you want. It's not. The details will go as they go. You just focus on that outcome. What do you want to do, right? And for me, it's like, I want to do my show. I want to do my show. I got to do my show, okay? I didn't get the showroom show thingy on a regular basis, kind of whatever, right? I got the wedding and party business, which to me was just as good, because the local people here in Hawaii that I performed in front of really appreciated me. They appreciated me, when I walked in the ballroom, like everybody shook my hand. They really, I want to say, embraced me and that kind of thing. I was well received. To me, that meant more than just being, pheasant under glass, right? On the stage in Waikiki and different people in the showroom every night. It would be good, because that was my dream. But God gave me something else. I didn't have a record company to answer to. I didn't have producers to answer to. I didn't have people selling me drugs and getting me hooked on, this, that, and the other thing to keep me going and forced into a work contract. I didn't have that. I didn't have a situation where I was working and somebody else was getting the majority of the money. No, I got the majority of the money. My overhead was $100 for a long time, many years. Okay, and when you're charging $19.95 and your overhead is $100, I mean, you know what I'm saying? But that's the way that it was delivered. Okay, that's not what I asked for. I asked for a Waikiki show because that's what I saw growing up, right? I saw that. I saw Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Don Ho, all those guys, all the greats, Jerry Lewis, all these guys, right? And people that I'm sure my 28 demo does not recognize these names, okay? But these greats in show business, right? I saw that. And I go, okay, that's what I want to do. Now, when I read the biographies of these people and what they had to go through, and of course they made millions and millions and millions of dollars, okay? But their price was pretty darn heavy. I mean, really, the things that they had to do and the orders that they had to take, they were order takers. They were. But you got to do that at that level, right? So the other thing that happened, right, was that instead of being at that level and that kind of responsibility and, blah, 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 right? God said, okay, here, look, we're gonna let you bypass all that crap. Here, you can do the same thing. You can have a packed, a packed showroom, which is actually a banquet hall. Okay, you can have a packed banquet hall. Here, we'll put you in 1,500 people in the top of ballroom of the Hilton Hotel. Here, there you go. Boom, you got that. And then you don't have all the other baggage. You don't have all the other problems. You don't have all the other obligations. You don't have all that stuff. You don't have to go to rehab. You don't have to, all that stuff, right? And I was thankful. I was very grateful. I used to thank God. Every time we left the performance, I used to thank God, and I always used to think, okay, the big one's coming. The big show is coming. That big show came. It came, and we had a good run. And I wanted the next level and the next. And then I saw some videos of these guys who were like the tops in Las Vegas and whatever. And I go, nah, I don't want that. Because those guys all, eventually succumb to some pretty bad stuff. I mean, and when I looked at, how they died and all that stuff and the conditions surrounding, no, I considered myself lucky. Very, very lucky. So God will let you do your thing. God will let you do your thing, but you need to take the baby steps towards that final outcome picture and hold that picture firmly in your head. Okay, and don't be afraid to let it go. Don't be afraid to let it go, because it's when you let it go that God has a chance to recalibrate and deliver your dream, right? Because I know guys right now, Hawaiians, that are bound to stuff. They are bound. Some of them are bound to drugs. Some of them are bound to corporations. Some of them are bound to limited influence and power. Some of them are bound to whatever. I'm not bound to anything. I have my companies. I do my own thing, and I'm happy. I'm happy with that. The only thing I don't have right now is fun. For me, it's like work. Maybe that's the trade-off. I don't know. I had fun. I did, on the last podcast, I told you guys I did radio a couple weeks ago. That was fun. That was nonstop fun every day. And I did it for free. Hawaiians. Okay? So if you really love something, if it's doing something good for you, that's your payment right there. Boom. And that's why I did it. I didn't think anything of doing it. And they say, hey, you want to come and sit in there? I was like, yeah, I want to have fun. And I laughed and I had fun, and it elevated my vibration. Okay? Because my vibration wasn't really bad or, whatever, but it wasn't high. I can tell you that. It was just, okay, another day. Okay, I got to turn on my laptop. Okay, I got to go do this. The money's there. Tons of money is there. But let me tell you something, Hawaiians. Money will not make you happy. It will make you happy for a little while. Okay, when I get that Mercedes, that I'm on my this is the second Mercedes. The first Mercedes was like 50,000, right? This Mercedes is 65. I just placed an order for a $74,000 Mercedes, okay? And let me tell you something, Hawaiians. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun for about 2 weeks. Then it's just another car. Trust me, okay? You know what's fun? Your kids. You know what's fun? Your nieces, your nephews, your mom and dad. Love them while you can. You know what's fun? Friends, when you get together and you go do stuff and whatever. For 30 years, I had one friend that I could count on. Well, two actually. But yeah, one best friend that I could count on. And then he died of cancer. And since then, There hasn't been any music fun. Music is what really elevated everything, elevated my vibration, everything. Now, I'm lucky. I think I got to the point now, because of that radio thing I did, I started playing songs all the way through. I couldn't get through a song until I did that. And I think the reason why was because I had to play on the radio, so I started practicing. It kind of pushed me in there. It kind of drove me to that. But yeah, before that, I would play the song halfway through. And my friend, Brother Wayne, he used to put the strings in, and the strings used to come in, and everything sounded like a production, right? And so my orchestra was missing, right? And halfway through, I just give up. And I put the guitar back in the stand. And I go, and I used to sigh rather heavily and go back to my laptop and make money. So yeah, this is what I don't wish on anyone. I don't wish that the only thing you end up with is a lot of money, really. Because yeah, it's not the thing. It's not the thing. You think it is when you're young. You think, oh man, if only I made 100,000 a year. If only I made $1 million a year. If only I made... No. Hawaiians, look, just be grateful for what you have, okay? But the gold in your life, the solid gold in your life are the people that give you the experiences, the laughter. Laughter, it's the best medicine. It's the very, very best medicine. And if you have that, you have everything. If you have laughter, Hawaiians, bro, let me tell you, cuz you have... Oh, sorry, Hawaiians, I gotta go. No, but you have everything. If you have laughter, you can laugh like that and carry on. And oh, man. Hey, that's the Jose Feliciano story, okay? We're having a lot of stories coming up. We get them planned. No worries. Stick to the podcast. Hey, I want to thank Island Club and Spa, Brother Randy, Sister Jerry, our sponsors. Also, Voice Master Enterprises, family of service companies, and AFMHawaiiMusic.com. Yeah, there you go, .com. Hey, go to the website, jrkjr.com. Sign up for our newsletter. You're not going to get spammed or, commercials and ads. No, none of that. But you will be alerted when our next podcast airs. And you can join us, okay? Till next time, I'm Junior Kekuewa Jr. saying mahalo and aloha.